Hey guys, welcome back. Remember this game mode? Yeah? Well, welcome to Man vs. Machine, a super fun game mode for TF2 players to enjoy. Just kidding, MVM can be the most stressful shit imaginable. Well, not really, but when you're playing Operation 2 Cities and you're pretty sure that your teammates are just robots created by Gaben to personally smite you, it can be pretty difficult for you to complete a tour. So in this video, I want to go over the flaws of Man vs. Machine and propose my fixes for it. So right off the bat, let's eliminate the first outstanding issue I see. The TF2 matchmaking is a little wonky, and that brings some issues to Man vs. Machine. So first off, bootcamp is free to play, but don't worry, I'll complain about that in a minute. But if you're playing the man up game mode, you need to buy a ticket, which is fine I guess, but still is flawed. The man up game mode is basically just gambling. You pay to play a game mode that promises you a chance of winning something really good, and if you don't, well, you earn some rewards that can range from robot parts to strange killstreak weapons with some other things tossed into the mix. I mean, I don't really care about that, but all this means is that anyone with a couple of quarters in their pocket can play a game mode where there are some asshole-ish players who are there just to try and win the golden frying pan. A lot of people play man up because of the chance to win Aussies, and that's fine. I have no issues with that, and I'm guilty of grinding 2 cities to try and get something cool. I mean, my friend won an Aussie black box, so that's cool I guess. But the issue still stands, and that is anyone can play the game. Don't take me as someone who hates new players and wants them all to suffer in bootcamp lobbies. I don't, but man, is it frustrating when a new player or players join you and have no idea what they're doing. Like, they equip the weapons that maybe are not the best for their game mode and they end up dying a lot, which to be honest isn't fun for anyone. So without me seeming like a horrible TF2ber, I suggest that MVM use kind of like a rank system, and that can be an entirely new rank system that tracks MVM ranks only. Don't take me as someone who hates new players. I absolutely love them. I love seeing them join. But it is just frustrating for everyone if no one's doing well and everyone's just having a tough time beating a wave. And a quick disclaimer, a lot of my ideas are pretty exploratory and this is extremely hypothetical in the sense that I would pretend that Valve would do something. So just follow along and see if you like my ideas too. Anyways, as I was saying, I think a rank system would be really cool. You start off with like 3 tutorial missions that help you understand why some individual classes are more effective than others and how the weapons work in this type of setting. Once you've completed these 3 missions, you get rewarded with a badge and maybe you rank up, which allows you to now do the next set of missions which are significantly less tutorial oriented. I should mention that the first missions of the bots would be easier and less complex than others. Essentially, you would rank up more and more, which allows you to participate in some more difficult and painful rounds of MVM. I think this would entirely eliminate the whole team imbalance that appears throughout tours. I guess this one is really targeted for me and other somewhat spy mains out there. I know spy could be used in this game mode, but I mean, man, come on. I wish he was more viable because I can guarantee you that if I try to play spy in a serious 2 city server, I'll get kicked almost immediately. Spy is so underused in the game mode and I honestly agree. He is pretty awful in comparison to the other classes. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely believe and know there are good people out there who could play spy somewhat well, but he doesn't even compare to a stack soldier with the beggars. What if maybe we give spy different abilities in this game mode? Like, if medic can have a shield, why can't the spy do something really cool? To be fair, if we made the spy insta-backstab every robot, that would be busted and, well, pretty stupid. But maybe if you give spy the ability to have an explosive backstab, kind of like how sniper does for every headshot, then maybe spy would be used more. His sapper is decent against robots. He can sap a group of them together, but that doesn't do much unless he backstabs them. I don't know, this one was kind of a fun bonus one that would be interesting if Valve theoretically did something about it. And now we arrive to probably one of the most dreaded topics of this conversation, bootcamp. Now, don't get me wrong, as I said earlier, I wish that the new players would play a tutorial first. I guess bootcamp is kind of designed around this idea. However, I play bootcamp sometimes for fun when I don't want to spend money and play a tour that needs me to actually play well. I like the idea of bootcamp being a way more casual setting, but instead of staying parallel to the regular game mode of MVM, maybe we can change bootcamp to be a little more like a PvE than it already is. Don't know what I mean? Well, let me explain. So traditional MVM, there's a max of 6 players per team, which is great for man up. However, I think if we wanted to stay close with a casual mindset, maybe we actually increase the team count from 6 to 12. This means more people can play at once, and Valve can adjust the bot difficulty to essentially fit the new max of 12 players. This will kind of counter the problem of people constantly leaving if they lose at least one round of MVM. I think there's a lot of potential with bootcamp, but I think having it be more of a communal PvE kind of game mode will allow for more players to try the game mode with 11 other players, so there's a lot less pressure for them to do well, and they can learn a lot easier rather than being screamed at by someone in man up. Now here's a bit of a stretch when it comes to ideas, but I was thinking of maybe adding a new game mode to MVM, or I guess a sub game mode, but I think the bots delivering the bomb to the hatch is certainly a great idea, and it is also super fun. I think the only reasonable addition would be more sub game modes. So since the red team is on defense, why don't we bring them to a Manco itself, the actual building, and they have to defend the building. Just imagine that there are like a huge wall around the objective and there are just waves and waves of bots that are surrounding it and trying to break in. Your goal is to kill all the bots before they break through, like the main gate or something. Instead of the tank, or in addition to, it doesn't matter, there's a sort of drill thing that the mercenaries have to destroy because it will speed up the destruction of the wall or objective or whatever you think it should be. Obviously, this is just an idea of how we could add another game mode to MVM, so take it lightly as I'm not a developer in any way, and if I was, Pyro would be long gone. I completely understand that it's supposed to be rare to get good loot, but I also think that fabricators suck and that needs to change because some tours can literally take several hours to complete unless Valve listened to my matchmaking ideas. I think that the loot should be a little bit better normally. Now instead of having the game give you a strange or kill streak weapon, have the game give you keys instead. I understand that the current price for keys is like $3.50 and a price of a ticket is somewhere around $1.50. It is still super rare that you would get it. For example, on completion of a tour, you'd have a 2.5% chance of getting a strange weapon from tours. And that is awful, just to get a weapon that is worth maybe like 50 cents. I think that the rarity should yield a much better item. For example, a couple of keys upon completion, and of course Valve can adjust the drop rate of keys to ensure no economic crash. And either remove fabricators and their robot parts or increase the number of rare and common robot parts per game. Because we've all had to buy robot parts in bulk to actually craft whatever is in the fabricator, and even then the item is pretty much not worth it. Of course Valve wants to make a lot of money, so this won't ever happen, but I think this would be a way more rewarding way, at least in my opinion. If I finish a tour and get like 2 keys, I'd be really happy with that, and it won't be every single game of Man Up that I would get it. Again, it would be pretty rare to get. I know we don't get that many updates, and I know that the individual tours have their own maps, and I believe they're lore related, but I would also like to see more apps added. I know this idea is pretty broad and obvious, but nonetheless, I would still like to see some new maps, because man, do I know the community can achieve a lot. So maybe we can get a few extra maps? I don't know, this one I thought like I had to add just to make sure people understood the obvious. So yeah, there isn't anything else in this segment, I just want to see more maps. That is all. Thank you for listening. Well, that's a wrap for this episode. Let me know your thoughts on my proposed changes in the comments. I think some ideas are gold, but I want to hear yours too. If there are enough comments and new ideas, I'll make a part 2 and share my thoughts. Remember, everything I said is just for fun, just like imagining a revamped MVM if Valve listened. Well, thank you for watching. I appreciate all of you, especially as I nearly have 600 subs on YouTube. I hope to keep growing and making more TF2 videos for you, so feel free to sub if you enjoy this content, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.